Hi everyone, welcome back to Edureka, instructor-led online training portal. So, in our previous classes, we were discussing about how to build a framework, how to work with the different controls of our Selenium components or a web application. So, today we are going to discuss about some third-party integration tools with your Selenium in order to make our work easy. Alright, so what we are going to discuss is, for example, if I have to build my or if I have to test my application whenever there is a new build release. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it as a continuous integration tool, which will help you to run your script as and when there is a new build which has come into your build path. Along with that, instead of downloading the dependencies manually and adding it to my build path, how would it be if I download the dependencies automatically and then set up my or execute my project directly? So all these kind, and also the repositories wherein we can save the project, wherein our team members will also be able to collaborate and fetch that particular project. So all this kind of third-party tools is what we are going to discuss in our today's session. So here we are going to discuss about your GIT, Jenkins, Maven, AutoIT, and also a third-party tool called Sickly, which helps us to deal with our Flash applications. Okay, to start with, so here is the objectives or the agenda that we have set for our today's class. We are going to talk about Maven, how to use Maven for builds and sending the email reports. We are going to talk about Jenkins, which is used for your continuous integration tool, and then we'll also use a third-party tool called AutoIT, which is a third-party tool which will help you to upload a file or download a file, which means you will be able to handle your Windows pop-up. If you guys remember, when we were talking about pop-ups, we spoke about Windows pop-up, wherein when we are trying to upload a file, the window file explorer would pop up and we will not be able to access it, or we will not be able to handle it using our Selenium, because that is a desktop application and our Selenium would support only our web application. In this case, to integrate your desktop application and your Selenium, we are going to use this AutoIT, which will help us to achieve our objective. Alright, and here there's another third-party tool called Sickly, which will help us to work with your Flash applications. So using Sickly, we are going to capture the images of the web applications and we are going to handle them using your Sickly jar file. Okay, so along with that, we are going to deal with how to create the log files in order to see log files. It is each and every action that we are going to perform on our web application which will be captured. So just like a system log that will be captured automatically, we are also going to capture the user actions on our web application, so that this can also be a deliverable which we will be using in order to share with our stakeholders. So first, before we go with Maven, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the third-party tools, which is your AutoIT, your Sickly, and your Log4J, and then we go to our project. We are going to convert the project to our Maven project, and then we'll push your project to your GitHub, wherein that is your centralized repository wherein we can store our project so that it could be accessible to our entire team, okay, whoever has access to that particular repository. And then we'll see how to integrate this Jenkins in order to run our programs or in order to execute our project. So to get started with, let's start with our AutoIT. Okay, so what is this AutoIT? As I told you, this is a third-party tool which is used to integrate with our Selenium, and using this third-party tool, we will be able to execute, or we will be able to handle our Windows pop-up, right? So how do we download this AutoIT and how do we integrate this AutoIT with our project is what we are going to discuss in our first part of our session. Okay, so integrating this AutoIT is very simple. All you have to do is just download your AutoIT tool. So I'll show you how to download your AutoIT tool and how this AutoIT tool comes as a set of tools and how we can make use of it in order to start integrating with our framework. Okay, so let's get started, right? So here all you have to do is just type in AutoIT download. Okay, so if you just go to this AutoIT download, you'll be able to always go to your official site. So here you have autoitscript.com. Go to this particular website, and once you go to this site, here is the download section. Okay, here you get the current version, so you can download your AutoIT from here. So all you have to do is just click on this button, so it starts downloading your exe file. So this is a executable file, a ready file which is available. So all you have to do is just run this executable file. Okay, so I've already installed your AutoIT. You don't have to do anything. The steps are given here as well. All you have to do is just go click on next. Let me show you. So how it looks. All you have to do is, once you get your welcome wizard, okay, you are going to click on next until it gets finished. That's all you'll have to do. Okay, so here click on next and it will get installed on your system. So once you install this, it comes as a package of tools. So I'll show you how it looks. Good. Once the software has been installed, so here you'll get a folder called as AutoIT v3. Okay, v3 is the version. So just expand that folder. So here is the set of software which comes along with your, as a part of your AutoIT. So it has support for both your 64-bit and also your 32-bit operating system. So based on which version of your operating system or which bit of your operating system you're going to use, so that particular tool you can use. So here you have window info tool for 32-bit. This is for 64-bit, and this is for 32-bit. So as you guys already know, your x86 is nothing but your 32-bit, right? So again you have something called as compiler. So this is also for your 64-bit and your 32-bit. Again you have a run script executor. So this is also for your 32-bit and your 64-bit. So here these are the three important tools that we are going to use. AutoIT window info, which is used to capture the information about the Windows file explorer that is open, and then comes your compiler script, okay, which is used to compile your script from your AU3 file to your executable file. I'll tell you what is the AU3 file, what is executable file, and then you'll get something called as run script. So this run script, you can execute it outside your Java program or outside your project, but in order to write your script, you go with your script editor. So this is the script editor where you can write your script. So your script of your AutoIT will be written in your VB scripting. So you don't have to worry. It is a very easy script that can be written. So if you use your script editor, it will be, you would be able to get it. Okay, all commands will be auto populated, or you can use your notepad also in order to write it. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this is the package of tools that comes along with your AutoIT. Now the scenario that we are going to automate is, we are going to log into your Gmail and we would be composing an email with the attachment. Okay, this is the scenario that we are going to automate using your AutoIT. So let's get started. So I have created a project called as third party tools demo, and within which I have created a package. So here I have created a class. Okay, let me delete this class. Just wait. So let me open this class. Let me use this class itself. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start writing my script in order to log into Gmail first. Okay, so how do I log into Gmail? Or let me make use of testng itself. So let me convert this project into testng. How do we convert this project to testng? Right click on your project, go to testng, convert to testng, right? So once I convert this to testng, testng.xml file would get generated, right? And then I'm supposed to add the libraries. So let me go to build path, configure build path, right? And then I go to this library, I click on add library, right? Select this testng, click on next and finish. So here apply and close. So now you'll be able to see this testng library getting added to my project, right? So after which, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to set up the jar files. So I can copy it somewhere from here itself. So this jar files I'll take, and also I'm going to take this drivers, right? So I'm going to take this up and I'll be adding it to my project. So let me add it here. right? So the jar file that I have taken, okay, for now I don't want this testng. I just want this Selenium standalone jar. So let me add it to my build path. Okay, I have added it to my build path, and then I have the driver executable added here. So what I'll be doing, the first thing is I'm going to write here @ before method annotation, wherein I am going to set up my prerequisite in order to launch the browser, navigate to the URL, enter or use your implicit wait, delete your cookies, all the management things will be done here. So I say public void, I say precondition. Okay, so now what I'll be doing, so before that let me take up this public webdriver driver is equal to null, right? So let me import your webdriver first. So the first thing I'm going to set is system.setProperty. So here I'm going to set the property for your Chrome driver. So this is your key and this is your value. So how do I set the key? I say, or I can use it here also. So public, what it is, I can say Chrome key. I will just make it as static as well. Okay, Chrome key is equal to, I would set this key here. What is the key? The key is webdriver dot chrome dot driver. So here this is a string that I'll have to create, correct? So this is set. Now I'm going to take the value as well. Public static string Chrome value is equal to, you can either make it static or you can also make it final. So here is the path to the driver executable. So let me take this out. Okay, and I'll save it here, right? So now what am I going to pass here? I'm going to pass your Chrome key and your Chrome value, correct? Chrome value. So this has been set. Now what I'll be doing, I'm going to use your Chrome driver in order to launch my browser. Driver is equal to new Chrome driver. Correct. So now I have set the system property. I have launched my browser. Now I am going to maximize the window, driver.manage.window.maximize, and I'm also going to set up my implicit wait. So driver.manage.timeouts.implicitly wait. I'm going to give 10 time unit dot second, right? So this is what I'm going to do. So you can also delete your cookies if you want, but I'm not going to use all that. So what I'll be doing now is I'm going to write a method, the test method, which will be used in order to log into my Gmail and also attach the mail, or attach the file. So before that, let me use your after method as well. Okay, after method annotation. So public void, so I say close browser. Okay, so what I'll be doing here, I say driver.close, correct? So this is done. Now I'm going to set up my test script, right? So let me set up my test script @test method, right? So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to say public void compose email with attachment is my method name. All right, so now okay, let me use this, just say compose email. Okay, so let me change the compilation unit's name as well. Fine. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start writing the step in order to log in. Okay, and then I'm going to use your compose email as well, or you can, as a prerequisite, you can use your login method as well. Okay, you can create a login method and you can add it here at itself, but let me start using it from here only. Okay, so how do I write? I'm going to identify the web element. Okay, username is equal to, okay, driver.findElement by.id, and I'm going to pass the ID. So what is the ID? Let me start inspecting it, right? So let me inspect. So here I'm going to identify your email with the identifier ID, right? So let me take. So here is my identifier. So let me import your web element. Okay. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to send the keys, right? So I say, wait. Okay, I say username dot send key, right? So here what I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass your email address. So I say Selenium Edureka @gmail.com. All right, so let me pass the same here now. So I say Selenium edureka@gmail.com. So here, then I'm going to click on your next button, correct? So I'll be using this. Let me go back. So I'll inspect this next button. Okay. So here it says span class next. Okay. Let me click on this. I use this here, driver dot find element by dot XPath. Okay, I'm going to write my XPath and I'm going to click on this, correct? So here, let me write my XPath for this. It is span text is equal to next, correct? So this is the one I have captured. So let me put it inside this. Now, once after I click on this next button, it asks me for the password. So let me enter the password for this. Okay, perfect. So now it has loaded. So let me do the same. So let me exit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm sorry for that. So what we are going to do, we are going to enter the email address. So it is Selenium edureka@gmail.com. So once after we have done this, what we are going to do, we are going to click on this, password. We are going to inspect your password. So let me click on this password. So here I am going to find for my password, right? So where is my password? My password is your name. So here I'll go with web element password is equal to driver dot find element by dot what is it? It is my name, right? So I'm going to pass it here and then I would be sending keys for this. So what is the key? I say password dot send keys and the value is apple 12345. So this is the password that I'm going to pass and then again I'll have to click on this next button, right? So I'll have to click on this next button. So what I do, I'm going to use the same XPath that we have used and then we are going to click on that particular button. Okay, so this is the one. Let me use the same thing. Alright, so this is done. So once I'm logged in into the application, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on that compose button, right? So let me log into the application and then I'm going to use that login button. Okay, so I'm sorry, compose button. Alright. So what I've done is I've logged into that application. Now I'll be inspecting this particular web element. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to inspect this compose button in order to click on it. So here I have the text. I can fetch this text, right? So let me take this up, compose. Okay, and then I'm going to write the XPath. So what it is my div, right? Text is equal to compose. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'll pick this up and then add the code. So here I say web element compose button is equal to driver dot find element by dot what is it? It is my XPath, right? So let me pass it. But one important thing that we'll have to notice is as soon as I click on this next button, it is not going to load the page immediately, right? So in that case, what we are going to do is we are going to use our webdriver wait in order to wait until my page gets loaded completely. So here I take public webdriver driver is equal to null. Okay, sorry, webdriver wait. Okay, let me mark this as wait is equal to null. So here I'm going to instantiate it. Okay, so I'll take this wait is equal to new webdriver wait and I'm going to take this driver object and pass the timeout in second. Right, so I have instantiated it. Here what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait until the title becomes, so here I say expected conditions dot title is, right? So title is, I'm going to capture the title and then I'm going to proceed. So what is the title of this web page? So here you'll be able to find the title of this web page. Under your head tag, you'll be able to find something called as title, right? So let me search for the title. So where's your title? so much styles that is given to your application. Okay, all right. So it would be here. Title. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me inspect this. So for that, I'll have to go to this head style, metadata, script style, and then script you have. Where's my title tag? So you have your style here. Here you have the style. Okay, my title tag is missing. Head is closing here. So is it inside any style tag? Obviously not. So let me do one thing. Since I know this compose button, okay, let me use your, but where did this title go? The title will not go out so easily. Here only it is, right? So let me use this. I was searching so much. Okay, instead of title is, let me not take the complete title. I'll use this title contains method wherein I can pass half of it. Okay, so I'm going to use this. It has to contain this particular title. Once this title comes up, then I can use your compose method. Okay, I can click on this compose button. So once I click on this compose button, what actually happens, it is going to open a new window, right? So this window gets opened, and what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to inspect this particular attachment button on this particular window. So let me inspect this. So here I have your class name. Okay, using this class name, I'm going to write an XPath and I'm going to find out that particular file. Okay, let me take up this. So here I say it is div, right? So I'm going to say @class is equal to, so this is what I have got. So let me capture this and then I would click on that. So I say driver dot find element by dot XPath. So here I'm going to pass my XPath and I'm going to click on this particular button. Once after I click on this attachment, here is what I'm going to get. Right? So from now on, your Selenium will completely lose the control. Your Selenium would completely lose the control. So what am I supposed to do? Here I'm going to start working with your AutoIT tool in order to inspect these elements. Okay, in order to work with your say your text box here under your file name, your open button here, and I'm going to start executing it. So how am I using, or how will I be able to use it is, so let me go to your script editor first. Okay, so let me go to your script editor, or you can also go with your AO3 file. So let me go here itself. So script editor. So I'll open a new file. Okay, I'm going to use your new file. So I'll be closing it. So here what I'll be doing is I'm going to write a new steps in order to capture this. So for that I need your window info tool. Since my system is 64-bit, I'm going to take this AutoIT window info in order to capture the details of it. So I'll click on this compose. I'll click on this particular attach file, and now I'm going to start accessing this field. Okay, all this open field, all this file name, so everything I'm going to capture. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set the path of the file name here. Okay, so I'm going to set the path of the file name. So in order to set the file name, all I have to do is capture this particular button. So how do I capture? Let me go to this finder tool. So this finder tool is something where you can drag and drop it. Okay, so if you drag this finder tool on any particular object on a Windows browser, what it does, it is going to provide us all the value which is pertaining to that particular file. Okay, so here what I'll be doing is I'll be using this particular thing in order to click on this. So here, can you see this title? The title is open, right? So you are capturing the information based on this control and also based on this title. So the first thing is you are going to capture this title. You're going to capture the class name, or you can also call it as your information about your field or information about that particular object. So this is going to be the edit, that is the class name, along with the instance. Okay, so here you will be able to fetch that information. Okay, so here if you go to this control, so your class name along with your instance would be another parameter that you are going to pass, and then you have to pass your file path, right? You'll have to pass your file path. For example, say for in your D drive you have some folder that you have created which you have wherein you have kept your files to be attached. Then you're going to give that path of the file here. So now I'm going to go to my script editor. So here what I'll be writing is I'll be entering the file path. Okay, so to create a variable or to declare a variable, you're going to use your dollar symbol. Okay, I say str file path, okay, is equal to. So one thing is you can directly give the file path here, but if you give the file path directly here, the problem is it is going to be hard coded, right? So I cannot fetch the path whenever, or I cannot fetch the file whenever I want to change the file. So for that, what I'm going to do is I am going to capture this file path from my command line or from my program. So for that, what I'll be using, I'm going to use a variable called as command line. Okay, and it takes the argument as 1. Okay, so this is what we are going to give here. So this is how I declare a variable in your VB scripting, and this is nothing but the value that you're capturing from your program. So once this is done, I'm going to start making use of this particular object. So I am going to say there is a method called as control set text. Okay, so here it is. So this control set text method will take 4 arguments. Can you see here? It takes the title, it takes the text, it takes the control ID, it takes the new text. So I'm going to take this one. The first one is the title that I'll have to pass. So here I'm going to capture this title. So I'll paste the title here. And the next one, what it is taking? The next one it takes is your text. So basically the text is the combination of your the class name and your instance number. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this in order to set the text there. Okay, so I'm going to set the text. So you'll be able to find it here as well. I'm sorry. So this is nothing but my object value. Okay, so that text is not available here. So I'm going to leave the text as blank. Okay, next is my the information about my that is the basic control info about my object. So that is nothing but your class name and the instance number. Okay, and the next argument it takes is what? The next argument it takes is your your file path. So I'm going to add this file path here. Okay, these are the 4 arguments that is taken by your control set text method. So what is the argument that it takes? The argument it takes is your title. The second one is your text. The third one is your class name. The fourth one is your file path. So you get the title from here itself. So if you go to window, you'll be able to find the title here, or if you go to this basic window info, the title is available here as well. The second one is your text, which will be available under your control information. So here the text is blank, so I have left it blank. The third one is your class name. So your class name is nothing but the combination of your class and your instance number. So this is the information that I have added here. And then the next argument it takes is your text, which is nothing but your file path that I have given. So now after this, after I set the value, what am I supposed to do? Think I have set a value here. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to click on this open button. So in order to click on this open button, now I'm going to inspect this open button and get that information. Okay, let me go to this script editor. So before I click on that, I'll have to wait until that file gets loaded, right? So that file gets identified. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make your script to sleep for some 2 seconds. Okay, I'm going to give some delay like 2 seconds. Okay, again in your VB scripting, your script must end with your semicolon. So I have ended with a semicolon. So next method that I'm going to use is your control click. So this control click method is going to click on that particular button or particular information that you have provided. So here it takes three parameters. So one is your title again, the second one is your text, and the third one is your control ID. So here again you are going to pass the title, so which is your open again. Okay, and I'm going to pass the text here. So here you'll be able to find this text. So you're going to copy this, okay, and you're going to add it here. Ampersand open, right? Ampersand open is the text, and then the next one is your class name or your custom ID. So that custom ID is nothing but your button. So let me copy this button and then I'll add your 1, which is your instance number. So this is how you're going to write your script in order to execute or in order to load that particular field. So once after this is done, what you're going to do is you're going to save your file. Okay, you're going to save your file with .au3 extension. Okay, so I'm going to save this file on my desktop, or I can save it in any folder location. Let me save it in my folder path itself, or I'll save it on my desktop itself, wherein I'm going to give the name as attachment, and then I'm going to keep the file name as AU3, right? So it has to be saved with .au3 extension, which means it is the AutoIT file, right? So that is how you're going to do. So once you have once you have written your script, one important thing that you will have to do is you will have to compile that script, and you will have to keep it as a .exe extension. Okay, let me do that now. Where's my attachment? Here it is. Let me go to D drive, new folder, what it is, Edureka files, new text document, sample text. So now I am going to compile the script using your compiler. So how do we compile it? If you go to your AutoIT tool, okay, so here you'll have something called as compiled script to .exe x64-bit, right? So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to browse for this file. So where it is, I have saved it in my D drive or wherever you have saved it. I'm going to go to that particular file, click on open, okay, and then you say convert. Okay, you just say convert. So once you click on this convert, it is going to compile it and convert it into .exe file. So once the exe file is ready, you are ready to start executing. But before that, let us prepare a data or a file which needs to be uploaded to your document, right, to your Gmail. So I will name it as sample text. Okay, and I'll write something here. Even if you don't write anything, it's fine. So let me write something here. So this is a sample file to be attached to Gmail using AutoIT. So this is what I've written and I have saved it. Okay, let me save it. Done. So I'll close it, go back to my Eclipse. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a small program which needs to be embedded along with my test script. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a method called as run AutoIT. Okay, this I am going to use it in order to run my AutoIT script. So what am I supposed to do? Let me use my try catch block first. Okay, so here I'm going to write some statement. So I'll say unable to upload the attachment, right? So this is what I'm going to do. Now what am I going to do is I'm going to set, there is two important things that you'll have to set first. One is your str file path, right? The file path that you're going to pass in order to provide or in order to attach your file. So this file path is nothing but here. So I'm going to take this file path in your D drive. I'm going to pass it here. And what is the file name? The file name is your sample text.txt. So make sure that you are going to provide the proper path of your file. It has to be with your extension. If you don't provide your extension, then it is not going to work. Okay. And the next thing that you'll have to do is you're going to set up the path of this executable file as well. So this executable path I'll have to copy. So let me take this again. So where I have kept, I'll say string str path is equal to, so here it is in my D drive, and what is the name of it? It is attachment.exe. So as I told you, extension is very much important, right? So now what we are going to do is, using these two files, we are going to run the executable file. So in order to run this, I had already told you there is a class called as runtime, right? So there is a class called as runtime which has a method called as get runtime. So this method will allow you to execute the file that is required for your uploading of your files. So for that, I'll have to pass this parameter where your attachment is present, correct? So what I'm going to do is, since I'm taking the path of the file which needs to be attached also as an argument, I'm going to create another parameter, okay, str parameter, which is a combination of these two. So what I'll do is I'll give this str path, okay, and then I'm going to give a space plus I'm going to concatenate these two files plus str file path. So both I'm going to take, and I'm going to pass this particular parameter as an argument to my runtime class. Okay, so this get runtime method is going to execute the method that we are going to, or the file that we are going to pass. In order to execute these two files, we can go with another class called exe. Okay, so that is nothing but the executable method which is going to execute the file that you have given, right? So this is how you're going to run your script. So you'll have to call this script in your test method after you have clicked on your attachment. So this is what you're going to do. So let me click on this attachment. So once you are called this method, we are ready to execute our program. So all I have to do is use your testng.xml file. Okay, let me go to my testng.xml file. Let me set up my test. Okay, so here I'm going to take the classes. Okay, and within this I'm going to give my class name. What is my class name? AutoIT, right? So under my source folder, AutoIT dot compose email. So this is my class name. So this is the one that I'm going to work with, right? So what is this? What is the error that I have here? So class name is equal to AutoIT is the folder name, compose email. Perfect. So this is what we are going to give, and then I've closed your class, and then I would be running it, right? So just alright, so the problem here is I'll have to give it in double quotes. I forgot that. Let me give it in double quotes. Now, perfect. So now what we can do, we can start executing our script. Let me close this script editor as well. Close everything pertaining to your AutoIT. So now let me execute this script. I say run as testng suite. So now what it is going to do, it is going to launch a browser, navigate through the URL, log into your Gmail application, and then click on your compose button, attach the file as per our script. Okay, so here now it is launching the browser, maximize the window, and then okay, I'm sorry for that. So there is a problem with my here. Did I navigate? No, I have not navigated, right? That is why it is not going. So let me go here. Driver.get. So what it is? HTTPS www.gmail.com, right? So this is the one. Now let me run my file. So, and then it should be able to execute it properly. So here it is launching your browser. It is going to navigate through the URL, and then enter your username, click on next, enter your password, click on next, log into your Gmail, and then it would click on your compose, right? It would click on your compose, and then Okay, wait. So did I get any exception? Not yet. Alright. Okay, there's one failure. So let me see what it is. Your exception is with your unable to locate element. Okay, got it. Problem here is I might not have clicked on your compose. I have only identified it, right? So let me see what if that is what I've done. Perfect. Yes, that is what I've done. Where is your web element compose? Here is your compose. I've not clicked on your compose at all. So I say compose button dot click. I'm sorry for that. So here, let me run it once again. Okay. So yes, testng.xml, run it as your testng suite. Alright, so entering username, entering password, click on next button, go to your compose. Okay, it waits until it gets loaded completely. Now click on compose, click on this attach file, and then it is going to run your attachment as well. So now if you go back to this, okay, and refresh your file, so you'll be able to see that in your drafts, if I'm not wrong, right? So because, or we'll do one thing, we are going to, let me close this. Okay, let me not use this now. What we are going to do is we are going to stop this, comment this after method because it is closing the browser as well. So let me not use that. Now let me run it because I want to see whether it gets attached or not, right? So for that, I'm going to stop your closing of the browser. So launch it, enter valid username, enter password, click on next, wait until it gets loaded completely, click on your compose, click on attach file, enter the path, open the file and get attached, right? So this is how you deal with your AutoIT in order to work with your attaching or uploading of your file. So got it? So this is nothing but your third party tool which is called as AutoIT, which helps us to handle your Windows pop-up. So the next third party tool that we are going to discuss is your Sickly tool, which will help you to work with your Flash applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open your facebook.com. Okay, let me close this. I'm going to open your facebook.com and using the images, I'm going to deal with your Sickly. I'm going to make use of your Sickly and I'm going to deal with your images in order to log into this application. So for that, one important thing that we'll have to know is we will have to download jar file for Sickly. So let me start downloading the jar file for Sickly. So what is the jar file? The jar file is, you just have to say Sickly jar download. Okay, so what I'll be using is I'll be using this Sickly jar. Okay, download Sickly jar file for Windows 64-bit. Oh, I'm sorry, why did I go here? So here is where you go, launchpad.net. Okay, in your launchpad.net you can go to this any version. Okay, Sickly setup 1.1.2 or 1.1.1, whichever you want. Just click on that jar file. Okay, once it gets downloaded, what you have to do is, let me copy this Sickly file. Okay, let me copy this and I would add it to this Edureka files and I'll keep it here. Okay, you can keep it wherever you want, and then what you need to do is you're going to double click on this file in order to install your setup. So all you have to do is just double click on this file. Once you double click on this file, it is going to generate one file called as XAPI. Okay, just click on yes and then go to, when this window opens, when the Sickly setup window opens, click on this pack 2. So I want to develop in Java, Python or other Java aware scripting language using NetBeans, Eclipse or other IDEs, and click on setup now. Okay, so the following will be downloaded to Edureka. So this is the path, just click on S. Okay, so here you say you have for Windows natives. Okay, yes. So now what it does, it has downloaded this Sickly X API file. Okay, so which we'll have to add it to our path in order to work with this. So what we are going to do, let me go back to my Eclipse. I'm going to create method new. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Sickly seems to be working. Perfect. So I'm going to create this new class and I say login to Facebook. Okay, and again I'm going to make the same here. So I'm going to make it as your testng file itself. So let me copy these before method annotation. Only thing I'll have to change is Here only thing I'll have to change is what? I'll have to change your driver, I'm sorry, URL, right? Let me use that here. Okay, so what is the URL? URL is nothing but your https www.facebook.com, right? This is the URL. Now, in order to log into this, in order to log into your email, one important thing that you'll have to do is you're going to capture the image, right? So how do we capture the image here? You have to open your snipping tool, okay, your desktop app, which will be used in order to capture the images, right? So go to your snipping tool and you start capturing these files. So you start capturing these files. So I'm going to save this in my D drive, okay, and I'll go to this Edureka files. Where is it? Here it is. Here I'm going to name it as username.png. So here is the file format that you'll have to choose. Just go with your PNG, click on save. Okay. Next, go to new, capture your password. Okay, so make sure you don't capture two elements. So it has to be very clear. Okay, click on this password. So you name it as password. And then what you do, you're going to capture this login button as well. Okay, you're going to capture this login button as well. Let me capture this login button and then I'll save it as login btn. Okay, so this is what is my pre-requirement. So I have captured all my buttons and the username fields that I would be using in order to work with my, or in order to log into my application. So once after this is done, what I'll be using it, I am going to write a script in order to run my files, in order to use my images in order to log in. But before that, one important jar that I'll have to set up is I'll have to go to this build path, go to configure build path, make sure that you don't add your X API directly to your project and then integrate it. It should always be an external jar itself. So say add external jar and go to your path where you have downloaded that X API file. So this is the one that you're going to add it. Okay, use your X API file, apply, close. So once after you add it, again under your reference libraries, you will be able to find this SQL API jar. So now what you're going to do, you're going to start using your test method, or start writing your test method. So here I call this as public void login to Facebook. Okay, so now what I'll be doing, I'm going to start using my images that I have captured. But before that, I need to use some predefined classes that is present in my SQL API in order to set up the application. Okay, so what do? I first use something called as screen class. Okay, so this screen class is present in your SQL script, which is used in order to capture the screen. Okay, so here I create an object, screen is equal to new screen. Okay, so this is used in order to access the methods provided by your SQL in order to capture the screen. So the next one is you're going to use a pattern class, which is going to be used in order to capture the images, compare the images. So here I say username is equal to, so now we are going to give the path of this object that you have captured. Right, so here is my username object. So here let me take this, go to properties. Okay, here is the path and I'm going to save it here. So what it is, username.png is the file name. Correct. So this is for your username field. Okay, so for that you'll have to create an object, new pattern, and this is going to be the argument that you're going to pass for this particular object. Okay, so likewise you're going to create the pattern for your password as well. Password is equal to new pattern, and then you're going to pass the value, that is the path of your password field. So this is the name password. So let me take this, keep this here, let me copy this. Okay, oh I'm sorry, here it is, and then I would give the extension as .png. Right, so once after this is done, I'm sorry, this has to be capital P. So once after this is done, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to assign a pattern to my login button as well. Right, so let me create that pattern. Login button is equal to new pattern of, so let me add it. So what is the name of it? So the name is login button. So let me copy this path, add it here. Okay, so it is login button dot png. So your object name should be perfect in order to work with it. So ensure that you give the proper name, right? So login button dot png. Even this is set. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to start setting up. So anyways, I've set up my browser, I've set up my maximizing of the window. So all I have to do is I have to start calling the methods in order to type the values, in order to click on this button. So in your screen, there is a method called as, so screen, there's a method called as your wait. Okay, so this wait method is going to take up two arguments basically. One is the username and the second one is to wait for that particular element to be available. So I'm going to use this wait method. So here what I'm going to pass is I am going to pass your username, comma, the time seconds that it has to wait for. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this throws declaration because it is going to throw an exception if in case if this is not available. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start typing the values for your username and for your password. So I say screen dot type. Okay, so what is the argument that I'm going to pass? First thing is I'm going to pass it for your username, and the value that I'll pass it, whatever your username is. So here I'm going to just send some dummy email, dummy username. There's no I cannot give my personal credentials, so I'll be using your dummy username. So here I say screen dot type and I'm going to pass this. So I'm going to pass this password here. So password. All right, password, and here I'll be passing your value. So I'll pass Edureka itself. Okay, now what I do, I have to click on that particular button, right? So for that I say screen dot click. Okay, you have a method called as click which will help you to click on the button that you're going to click on. So I use this login button. So with this setup, you will be able to run your script and you will be able to log into that application. So all you have to do is change your username and password and click on that login button to successfully log into your Facebook account. Okay, so now it is launching the browser. It is navigating through the URL. Okay, and now what it does, it is going to capture the image and then it has to enter the username and password. But before that, we'll see. Perfect. Can you see this? It is going to type in and it is going to click on your login button. So this is, who is this? Okay, somebody's name, I'm not sure. So this is what we are going to work using. This is how we are going to work with your Sikili in order to capture the object. So if you see here, once after you run this, just refresh your folder. Okay, so here you will be able to get this console report based on your Sikili. So what it does, it is going to give you the log files, like click on whatever object it is and what action it has performed on that particular element. So clear? So this is how you're going to deal with your Sikili tool in order to work with your third-party Flash application. Alright, so next one, the next application or the third-party tool that we are going to deal with is your Log4J, which is basically used in order to log the data or log the operations that you have performed on any particular application. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to set up, it is a very easy tool which you can set up. So all you have to do is you will have to download this Log4J jar file. So let me show you that. Let me create a new class. Here I say go to new, go to class. So I say logger demo. Okay, so again I'm going to use anything for that matter. You can either go with your sample class also, that is much easier to understand. So later on you can implement it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download your jar file in order to work with this. So for the first, what I'm going to do is there is a jar file which is available in your POI API itself. So apart from that, you can also download this Log4J jar file from your Maven site as well, log4j jar. So you can go download it from your Apache as well. So the official site of it. Here, if you go to this, you'll be able to find your log4j files. Okay, so all you have to do is download your files based on whatever it is. If it is a zip file on your Windows, you can download your Windows file. So here I'll download this zip file and I'll have to extract it. Okay, so here you can go ahead and download from any of the mirrors. So I'll click on this mirror 1.2.7. So once it is done, I'm going to capture this and I'll keep it in my Edureka folder. Okay, so I'm going to save it here, and so downloads and paste it here, right? So I'll have to extract this, extract all. Okay, I'll click on extract. So now what it does, it will extract all the files that is available. All you need is only one jar file that you'll have to add it to your build path and execute it. That's all you'll have to do. So we'll wait until it gets completely extracted. Okay, so once it gets extracted, we are going to set up a XML file in order to work with this, but let it take its time. Okay, perfect. So here in your Apache log4j, so this is the executable jar file that you're going to copy. Okay, do not touch anything else. You don't require anything else. So go back to your project, add this under your jar folder. Okay, add this under your jar folder and add it to your build path. So go to build path, say add to build path. So now you will be able to access your log4j's classes and you will be able to log your whatever operation that you can perform. So before you create a class, there is one important log4j.xml file that you'll have to set up in order to work with it. So under your source folder, go to new, go to other and create a file. So here you'll be able to go to your files. Okay, wait. So let me create a new file. New, where's file? So here, let me create it outside itself. Let me take it up outside. Perfect. So this is the file. So I say log4j.xml. Okay, so once you create it, just move it under your source. So it has to be present under your source. So this is mandatory that your log4j is present under your source folder itself. So now here you'll have to add some code which is readily available on your internet. It is common across all possible logger files. So what you can do is you can just search for it, log4j.xml file download. You can directly download it or you can find out examples as well. So what needs to be added there, so you will get it readily available. So this is going to be the same throughout your industry. Wherever you go, this is what we are going to use. Just copy and paste it. That's all you have to do. Okay, just copy and paste it and it will be completed. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. And what you're going to do now is you're going to see, this is not, I'll explain what it is. So this is, you already know what this one is. This is nothing but your XML file configuration, right? And then this is nothing but the log4j's to say URL in order to capture your log4j, where this is coming from. And here you're going to use your appender. Appender is nothing but it is going to append all your information that you're going to log. And then this conversion pattern is nothing but it has to provide the date, right? It has to provide the date in order to, in order to capture the time and the operation that you have performed in that particular time. So one extra thing that you can add is you can give the file name. Okay, so which file name you'll have to use in order to log it. So that file name that you can give. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to add the file name here. I'm sorry for that. So what I'll do is I'm going to add the file name. So let me add the file path as well. So here I'm going to add it like this. So I say param, okay, name is equal to what it is. My param name is first one. I give this max file size. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Max file size, okay. And then what I do is value is equal to 1 MB. So what am I setting? I'm setting my size of my file, which means it should not exceed 1 MB of size. Okay, that is what I'm telling. Next, I'm going to set up my file name. Okay, param name is equal to file. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the value. So value is equal to, so whatever file name that you want and wherever you want, you can give the file. So what I'll be doing is under my third party tools, it is anyways going to create it here itself. So under my third party tools, I'm going to add it. So let me take this up, let me copy this location. Okay, so under this, I'm going to create a file name called as logging.log. So always your log file name should be with the extension .log. Okay, so this is what I've done. Just save it. So everything else is set up. You don't have to do anything apart from this. So now what we are going to write, we are going to start creating the logger file in order to log the data that we are going to, or log the operation that we are going to perform. So now what we are going to do, we are going to set up a class. Okay, so I say I'm going to create an object of type logger first, public. I don't want static, I just take your testng logger. Log is equal to, what I'm doing, I'm going to use your logger file. Okay, so which has, this is not a class, but instead this is a, where is it logging from? I'm sorry. So this has to be imported from your Log4j itself. Can you see this? org apache.log4j. So this is where you're going to import it from. Logger.getLogger is a method wherein you can take the log of a particular class. Okay, so what is the class name that I'm going to take? The class name is loggerdemo.class. Loggerdemo, right? .class. This is what we are going to pass. So this is the name of the file that will be used in order to take the logs from. Okay, once this is set up, I can start creating methods where I can log. So one important thing that you'll have to know is, in your log file, there are multiple faces or multiple loggers that you can use. So the loggers can be your warning method, the logger can be your information, the log can be your fatal error, the log can be your errors. So there are multiple things. You have fatal, you have error, you have warning, you have info, and your debug. So these are the 5 methods that is available in your logger class which you can log. Okay, now let me start creating these methods. I say public void. I use logger, debug method. Okay, I'm going to use your debug method, and then I'm going to start writing into my log file. Logger.log is a method, or logger.debug is a method which is used in order to write any message. So here I'm going to write a message telling that this is a debug method, right? So this is one method in order to debug. Next, I'm going to create another method called as public void. What it is? Logger. I say error, or I'll go with info. I'll log info. Okay, so now what I do, log.info. Again, you pass your message. So this is a information. Okay. Application under test. So this is an information about application under test is what I have written. So public void. The next one is, I am going to use your error. Okay, I'm going to use your error. So log.error. So here this is an error message is what I'm going to log. And then the next method that I'm going to create is your fatal. Okay, there is a message called as fatal. So logger fatal. Okay, so this is nothing but the fatal errors that is going to be captured. I say log.fatal. So this is the one that I'm going to use. So I use this. This is a fatal error occurred during execution. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use. So I have used a fatal, and the last method that I'm going to use is your warning. So I'm going to log this warning messages. Okay, so here I say log.warn. Okay, so this is warning message. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use your @test annotation in order to execute all this. So public void, I say, what is the method name I can give? Your logger demo. Okay, logger demo is the method name. And then I'm going to call all these methods in this particular method, right? I use this logger debug method, and then I use your logger uh, error method, I use your logger. Fatal method, I use your logger. Warning method, and then I'll also call your info method. So once I'm done with this, I'm all set to run this file. So select how file should be imported to this project. Let me copy this. Let me open this testng.xml. What is it? The AutoIT.logger demo, right? So this is the class that I'll have to execute. Now if I run this as a testng suite, now it is going to execute the file, execute all the programs, and then it is going to give you, can you see what are the different methods that has been available? So along with this, it will also create a file. So all you have to do is just refresh. Okay, and then where's my login file? Have I logged it properly? Where's my log4j.xml? So where's it? Edureka third party tools demo. So here is where I am expecting it to start. Okay, let me run this. Wait, let me run your code again. Logging. So it has logged. And now level root for debug. Okay, parsing value, perfect. Warning. Okay, so set property conversion. Okay, perfect. Now adding appender named console. So this is what we have done, but I also want it to be logged into a file rather than the console, right? So let me refresh the project and see. Okay, it is not popping up. So let me change my log4j here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the file name value is equal to, okay, let me remove this, but it should be available in my file itself. So appender is given, parameter for my name is given, the size is given. So parameter is file and value is given. Alright, so everything else is set up. Then, so let me take up this layout class. Layout class is also taken. Okay, and then what I'll be doing, so I'll use your conversion pattern, and then perfect, layout is closed, appender is closed, so it is in the debug mode. And okay, I got it. So this has to be in your roller mode, because if it is in your consoler mode, then it is going to add it in your console. If it is in your roller mode, then it is going to roll off into your file. Let me check this. Let me run this file. Okay, there is an exception. Okay, out.xml, what is this? Alright, so there's no, okay, this is just a message that has been printed. So now let me refresh this. And where's my file? Where's my file? My file is not here. So let me give just the file name and check whether it takes logging.log. Okay, so this is a little difficult to set up though. Sometimes it expects us to log a demo past. Refresh this now. Where's my file? Out.xml. I don't want this out.xml. I want my class to be added. Wait, just give me a minute. Let me debug my code. So here it is logger, Apache, roller, okay, roller file appender. Rolling file appender. What's this? Debug file not found exception, third party source, log4j.dtd. The system cannot find the file specified. Delete this, close this. log4j.xml file, conversion, level value, appender, configuration. Okay, so log4j.xml has to be added under your source itself. This needs to be added under your source folder. It is already there in my source folder. What's wrong with you? Rolling file appender. So rolling file appender log4j, max size, backup index, new file is equal to value, then class layout, pattern layout, conversion pattern layout, appender, root, level debug, system log4j ttd, vendor name is equal to roller, class is equal to org log4j dot rolling file appender. Perfect. Param name, max file size, value is equal to MB, and then param name is equal to max backup index, value is equal to 2. What's your problem? It's running, but where is the file getting generated? My refresh. Let me do nothing. Let me name it to value is equal to param name is equal to file. Value is equal to act.log. Have I closed it? Yeah, I've closed it. Something layout, pattern layout, UTF-8 only, right? 1.0 UTF-8 4G.ttd debug check configuration debug true. Have to use this anyways. Alright, so the problem is here you'll have to give the appender name also as roller, and you'll have to give your rolling file appender if you have to save your log files into your file. So if you have to show it on the console, then the appender name will be console and the class will be console appender. Right, so that is what we are supposed to do. So we changed it here, we forgot to change it here as well. So that is what I've done. So now what we are going to do is we are going to run this program, run our code in order to check whether it creates our log file or not. So let me run this. So here it is running. Okay, let me open this console. So it says it has passed the test case. So now let me refresh the page and check whether I have the log file or not. So where is refresh? I'll click on this refresh. So here is my log file that has got generated under my project. So open your log file. Can you see whatever we have done is going to be logged inside this particular log file with the timestamp that we are going to give, right? So this is how we are going to deal with your logging when you start working in your application. So even if you want to log each and every information that you want to do, that is even after you launch your browser, you have to log it, then all you have to do is just say log dot, or what you can create any object and you say log dot, you give information or you give any, if it causes any error, make sure your errors are always kept in your catch blocks, okay, and your information will be kept in your try blocks and the other methods which are being used in order to log into that application, right? So this is all about your logger file. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to discuss in today's class is about your third party tool, which is your GitHub. So what we are going to do is, in order to log into your GitHub, what we do, we are going to create an account. Okay, it is mandatory for you to create an account or have your login credentials. Once you start working in any organization, if they are using your GitHub, then they will give you the login credentials or you can create your own. So you say GitHub and then login. Okay, so go to this login, github.com/login. So I have already logged into this application. So what I'm going to show you is, so all you have to do is enter your username and password. So this is your home page that it looks, the way it looks. So now what you can do is you can create a new repository in order to store all your projects. So what do you mean by repository? Repository is nothing but a container where you can start keeping all your projects and you can allow other team members in order to access it. So how do you create your repository? It is a very easy tool. All you have to do is click on new repository. Okay, now you give your repository name. So this can be your project name as well. So I'm going to give this as third party tool. So this is the project name that I'm going to give. So once this is done, when it comes to your organization level, you can either make it private or you can keep it public where others can also see it. So click on this repository, create repository. So once you click on this create repository, this is one important URL that you'll have to copy. So this URL is pertaining to that particular repository that you have created. So just click on this button in order to copy this. So once you have copied it, go back to your Eclipse. Okay, you have to start committing or you'll have to start pushing your project into that particular repository. So how do you push it? Is just right click, go to team and then say share project. Okay, so once you click on the share project, all you have to do is use or create repository in the parent project is what you say. Okay, and then you select this project and you click on this create repository. Okay, so once you click on that create repository, this gets highlighted, this gets selected, click on finish. So as soon as you click on this finish, you will be able to see a small database icon on your project, right? So in that, whatever files you have created, all the driver files, your jar files, everything will come up with a question mark. So which means you have now associated this project with your GitHub, but none of the files have been pushed into that particular project. So it is asking you to push or commit the changes that is made to this particular project. So how do you push it? You are going to right click again, go to team now. So now you get multiple options. One, you have shared your project, so go to commit. Okay, so once you click on this commit, so this is what you'll be getting, right? So all these files that are under the unstaged changes should be moved to your staged changes. Okay, so in order to do that, copy this. So say Control A. So just drag and drop all these files to this staged changes. So everything comes under this staging part, and then give a commit message. You say first commit, or you can say initial commit. Okay, initial commit. And then you say commit and push. Okay, once you say commit and push, you are going to give your destination to it. So this URI is already taken. If it is not taken, you're going to give your URI which you have copied from there, and then you're going to enter this URI and enter your authentication credentials. So here I'm going to enter my credentials and click on next. Okay, so here it will ask you for the configuration, if you want to configure it to master or if you want to configure it to branch. It again depends on you. So it is only the master repository that I've created, so I'll let it be like that, and I'll click on this next. So once you click on this next, it is going to set up this particular repository. Click on finish. Okay, so now again it will ask you to authenticate yourself. Just give in your username and password and then click on OK. So it now starts pushing. So can you see the status here? Push to HTTPS, and it is going to push completely. Once after it has pushed, it will give you a confirmation pop-up as well. Can you see this? Push to GitHub, Emma Gaikwad and third party tool. Click on OK. Now go back to your Git, okay, and then all you have to do is just press your F5 or click on refresh. So once you click on this refresh, so all your files that is present in your project will be added to this particular repository, and you will be now able to access it. So here if you see your source folder, so this is your source folder. Your source folder contains your log4j along with your compose email, and then go back again. Okay, now you have your jar files. So all your jar files also would have come and sat here. So likewise, you have multiple things, right? So now how do you make this project visible to your team members as well? So if you go to this project, you have something called as settings. Okay, so go to settings. And then here you have an option called as collaborators. So this collaborators option will help you to add your collaborators, which means you will be able to give access to your team members who have access to your GitHub. Now you start typing in the email address or the username of your team members who have access to this. Okay, and once you click on this, you can add collaborator. Since I've given my name itself, so I'll not be able to be a collaborator because I'm the owner, right? So likewise, you can go and add the username of people who have access to this. So once after you have this, what they will be able to see is once they log into their credentials, they will be able to see the project which you have created on their home screen itself. So likewise, they will be able to see a project which you have shared with them. So this is how you start adding your data to your repositories. Now when you start making changes, okay, for example, say I'll make changes to this compose email, think I am just adding a commit. Okay, so this is a precondition method to set the browser. Okay, and then I'm going to save it. So as soon as you save this, so can you see a greater than symbol here? So this means the new changes have not been committed to the GitHub. So it is always attached to your GitHub. So in order to commit this, what you'll have to do is just go to this, right click on this particular file, go to team, again say commit. Okay, so here under your unstaged changes you have this, right? So your stage changes has come here, so you say changes made to compose email. This is your second commit, or you can give any commit message that is makes sense. Commit and push. Okay, just say commit and push, authenticate yourself, click on OK. Okay, so now it is pushing your code, so it has pushed your code. Now if you go back to your repository there which you have uploaded, and if you go to this, can you see the changes that has been made? So it will get updated automatically. Now if you go to that compose email, so here is what it is. If you want to view it, just click on that, so your new changes would have got added. Can you see this? The new comment which you have added would be added to this particular file. So this is how you're going to make your changes. Along with which, another important thing that you guys have to know is what happens if you create a new file. So if you create a new class file, say demo class, then if that file is not pushed into your Git, then it is going to give you your question mark symbol which says that this file is not added to your Git at all. So your question mark is when you have not added the file to your Git, and your greater than symbol is when you have not updated the changes that you have made to the existing files. So this is all about your GitHub. So what we are going to do, we are going to set up a repository. So like we go to this new repository, and then we are going to give the name of the repository. Click on the create repository. So once you click on that, we are going to copy the URI and then go to this project in our Eclipse. Go to right click, go to team, and then say share project. So once you share the project, then again you'll be able to see this database symbol. So once that is done, right click, go to team, and then you will be able to commit it. So once you click on this commit, all your unstaged changes will be provided here. So just drag and drop to this stage changes and click on give some commit message, and then you would be able to click on this commit and push, right? So once you commit and push, it will ask you to authenticate. Then you can start authenticating yourself. 1 2 3. And then what will be done? So your message or your project will be pushed into the GitHub. So once after that is done, just refresh your project, okay, whichever you are using, and then you would be able to see that particular changes that has been made to your file. So can you see here? Here it is, third commit. So if you go inside this folder, you'll be able to see this message updated to that relevant class itself. So this demo class is the third commit, and this is done. Okay, so this is about your third party tool called your GitHub. Okay, and the next third party tool that we are going to discuss about is your Jenkins. So this Jenkins is nothing but your, what to say, you can also call it as a DevOps tool, or your a continuous integration, you call it as CI/CD tool, okay, which is used to build your framework every now and then. Okay, for example, say whenever there is a new build comes and you want to test that particular build with your framework, then what you're going to do, you'll have to download the new build, install that particular build, and then start, or you have to trigger the framework on that particular build, right? So instead of that, if you by default, if you set your Jenkins, if you design or if you configure your project with your Jenkins, then you will be able to run your framework at the specified time. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to download something called as jenkins.war file. It is a generic file, okay, a file which will help you to work with your Jenkins. So what you're going to do is it will work as a server file, okay. So you can download this Jenkins. I'm going to download your 2.8 version. You can download whichever you want. So here is your jenkins.war file which you need to download. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I'm going to copy this jenkins.war file to any folder that I need. Okay, let me copy this jenkins.war and I would add it to my Edureka files here. Okay, so I'll add it here itself. I'll paste it here. So now what I'm going to do is, first thing that did I add it? Did it get copied? Yes, it is here. So first thing that you'll have to do is go to your command prompt. So do a Control R, type in CMD. Okay, so you'll have to run one important command, which is java-jar, and then copy paste this or drag and drop this war file that you have downloaded. Okay, so download this and then just drag and drop this here. Okay, so once you are done with this, just give a space after this jar, I'm sorry, here, and then run this file. Okay, so once you run this file, it will start running, it starts extracting the war file, and you'll have to wait until it says Jenkins is fully up and running. Okay, so that is important. So once it says Jenkins is fully up and running, it will also give you a password in order to connect with your Jenkins. Okay, it takes a little time, so we'll wait until it's completely extracted and running. Okay, so it has started extracting. It will give you a password, so that password is very much important. Copy and paste that password once you start working with your Jenkins. Okay, so we'll see, we'll wait until it loads completely. Okay, stopping Jenkins, persisting build queue. Let us see. So it is going to clean up everything. Okay, there is an error with this, closed by interrupted exception. So null returned by Hudson. Okay, failed to instantiate key. Let me do one thing. Let me download it from first. Alright, and then unable to read cli.xml. Failed to load. Okay, XML file is not there. No problem. Okay, let me start it from first. Okay, go to your C drive, go to users, and then go to your username. So here you'll have a folder called as Jenkins. So this will have everything. Let me check for this. XML file is there. What is the version of this? Okay, so let me delete this Jenkins folder first. So it says it is news. So what I'll be doing is I'll be closing this first. Okay, try again. Oh. Now let me download your Jenkins new version and then I'll use it. Okay, I'm downloading your Jenkins new file. So let me add this Jenkins to my, okay, let me delete it from this Edureka files first. Okay, and I'll add it again. So you can go to download. So just refresh. So jenkins.war and then paste it here. So what I'll be doing, I'll go to your command prompt, type in cmd, I say java-jar, right, java-jar, and then I'm going to drag and drop this file. So here it is. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a small space, okay, and then I'll be able to run this. Okay, so let me see what it does. Okay, it has started extracting it. Okay, it has completed your initialization. Now it is going to, okay, perfect. So can you see this? Jenkins initial setup is required. So you'll have to copy this. Okay, you'll have to copy this password. It is very important. So now it says Jenkins is fully up and running. Now what we are going to do is we are going to launch a browser and then you're supposed to go to this HTTP localhost. So this is the website on your Jenkins, for your Jenkins on your browser. Okay, for your local host, this is going to be your website. So now once you go to this local host, it will prompt you to enter the password. So whatever password you have copied, right, so that is what you're going to save it here. So it would have taken the password by default. Do not use that password. That password won't work. So copy the password from your command prompt here, this one. So you please use the following password to proceed the installation. So you're going to copy this and you're going to paste it here, then click on continue. So this is what we are going to say. So I'll just click on this update password. Now it is going to set up your Jenkins wizard, right? So now it is set up. Not what we are going to do is we are going to start using your Jenkins. Okay, we are going to start using your Jenkins. So now what am I going to do? I am going to create new jobs in order to set up my framework, in order to execute my framework. So here what I'll be using this create new jobs. You can also use your create new item if you want to use it. So I'm going to enter a item name. So I'll name it as third party tools. Okay, I'll select this freestyle project. I would click on OK. Okay, I would click on OK. So now what it is going to do, it is going to give me the additional, what we call it as setting up. Okay, additional setup. So under your general, there is a tab called as advanced. So now you'll have to see, if you want to see whether your project has created or not, here is where you're going to use. Okay, so this is how it looks. So what you have to do is go to this drop down, click on this configure option. Okay, under your configure option, you will be able to find something called as advanced button. Okay, so here it is, your advanced button. Click on this advanced button. Now go to this option called as use custom workspace. So this custom workspace now can be the path to your GitHub, or it can also be a path to your Eclipse, okay, or the project where you have stored. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the path of this project. So let me copy, since I've already configured this project with the GitHub. So I'm going to give this project path. So I'll pick this up. Okay, close, and then I'll add this project here. Okay, the project path is added here. So once we click on this, what we are going to provide is we are going to provide the path, and after this we are going to click on this build step. Okay, so here under your build there is an option called as add build step. Okay, so under this add build step, you're going to provide execute windows batch command. You're going to provide execute windows batch command. So here you're going to say run me.bat. Okay, you say run me.bat. I'll tell you what this run me is. Okay, and I'm going to say how it has to be run. So I say run me.bat. So this has to be just like this. So click on save. Okay, so once it is saved, now go back to your project. Okay, go back to this particular folder path. So I'll show you what needs to be done. I'll tell you what a batch file is. So you guys would have come across multiple files called as executable files, wherein you would have heard about this Windows batch file as well. So this batch file is nothing but, so this helps you to execute your script, execute your entire project even without opening your Eclipse. So how do you run this? Just double click on this file in order to execute your entire project. So that is the flexibility that would be provided by the batch file in order to execute it. So for that you are supposed to write 4 lines of code here, just a simple line of code. What you're going to do is first set up your project location. So I say project location is equal to, I'm going to give my project here. So let me give my project. This is my project, correct? So now enter into this project. CD is nothing but change directory. So this batch file is nothing but running the project from your command prompt. So you can directly run your project from your command prompt, right? So same thing you can do it using your batch file, wherein you don't have open your command prompt also. Okay, so here I take CD project location. Now I set the class path. Set class path is equal to, what is the class path that I'm going to set? The class path that I'm going to set is the path for your libraries. Okay, so that is, I'll go here. So close this. Here it is. Where is your jar files? Here, this one. So I'm going to copy this path. Okay, I'm going to copy this path. Close it. I'll go back here. So instead of providing the entire thing, what you can do is you can go with this project location, okay, pass it here. You have to give the bin folder. Why am I giving my bin folder? Because that is where your .class files will be present, right? We are going to execute your .class file and not your Java file. Your Java files are only to be compiled and your .class files are to be executed. So once this is done, what we are going to give? We are going to give the path of this jars also. So the name of this jar files is very much important. So once you set your jar files, what you're going to give? You're going to provide, so this /* means all the jar files needs to be used, okay? So now let me give a command which will run my testng.xml file. So I say java space org.testng dot. So this is the package name, testng. Now where is my testng.xml file? It is in my project path, right? So testng, here I have this testng.xml, right? So this is the file that needs to be executed. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this pause because I want to see what actually happens with this particular program. Okay, now I'm going to save this. Just do a Control S. You will have to go to this path here. So it is Edureka March. It is your third party tools. Under your project, you're going to save it as runme.bat file. Okay, just save this as runme.bat and close this. Now what you can do is, even if you close your Eclipse, you can run your files. So let me go to this. So here is how your runme.bat file looks. All you have to do is just double click on this particular file. So now it starts continuing. Wait, it says could not. Okay, I'm sorry. There's one more additional jar file that you'll have to add into your project to execute this. That's just nothing but your testng.jar file. So this is the one that I'm going to download. I'm extremely sorry for that. So you can download this testng jar file, okay, and you'll have to add that to that particular library. Okay, so let me add this to that library. So keep, and then I open this up. So copy this testng.jar file, add to this jar, okay, and then I'm going to add it to my build path. Okay, so now, so let it be. Even if you don't push it to GitHub, it's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this file, which is runme.bat. Okay, so now it starts, it says could not load. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me see what's wrong with my jar files. So where's my, let me edit this file first. So edit, set project location is equal to, I have set the project location perfectly. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter into my project location, set class path. Class path is my project location and bin folder that I have given, and then the jars folder that I have taken. Correct. And then what I'll be doing, I'll be using this java org testng. Yes, and then I give the project location /testng.xml file. Perfect. So this is what I'm supposed to do. And now I would be running this batch file, project location.testng.xml. So now what I'll do is I'm going to this. Okay, so let me refresh this project. So here is my runme.bat. Okay, so it says could not load org testng.testng. So the main class, the problem was opened in an external cancel. So let me go back to my testng. Okay. Alright, so now what we are going to do, we are going to save that runme.bat in our file and we are going to refresh the file, so you'll be able to see your runme.bat. Now if you want to execute any classes, what you'll be doing is you are going to update this testng.class file. So here let me change it. I am going to use your any program. For that let me check which is the program that I can use. I can use your Log4J Demo. Okay, or I can also use your compose email or log into Facebook or whichever you want. So let me use this Log4J Demo itself. Okay, and then I would run this batch file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to this particular. So what we will do, we are going to use this runme.bat file in order to run this. So now what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to set up my testng.xml file. So here I'm going to run your logger demo class. So using your logger demo class, I'm going to execute this. So for this, I'm going to set up your runme.bat. So what I'll be doing is I'll be going back to this folder structure, okay, and I'll be running that particular file. So where's my folder? My folder is here. So let me pick that up. So here is my runme.bat file saved. It has to be saved under your third party tools itself. So now if I have to execute this, all I have to do is just double click on this file and it will start executing your script, right? So whatever test method is present, it will start executing your script. So here it says total test run 1, failure 0, skip 0. So enter in order to go back. So now if you go back here and refresh your page, okay, refresh your project. So refresh, here is your app.log file which has got generated newly, and now you can start using your file as well. So now what we are going to do is we are going to test we are going to add two more classes. Okay, I'm going to add this class name is equal to what it is, AutoIT dot, which is the class name, it is your compose email that I'm going to execute. Okay, so now again I can add any number of classes for that matter. So here, wait, let me see, must match method parameter. Okay, no problem. So next what I'm going to use, I'm going to use your AutoIT logger demo. Alright, and then let me use another class name, which is your class name is equal to your AutoIT dot your logger demo or login to Facebook. Login to Facebook. Alright, right. So this is what I'm going to use. Alright, so this class has to be closed here itself. Okay, so now I am going to execute these two classes using my testng.xml file, and on your Jenkins I am going to use your Jenkins. So here what I'll do now is once I go back to my home page, here is your Jenkins. Now I can start building my framework. So what do? You click on this drop down and I click on this build now. Wait, so let me click on this build now. So now it starts building your framework. So if it is successfully able to build your framework, then it is going to pass it, else it is going to fail it. So likewise it is going to show whether it is able to build it or not. If you want to see the result, you can click on that. Okay, go to this last build, go to your unsuccessful build. Okay, and then here you will be able to see this information also under your build here. So if you go to this here, go to console output and it will show you what is the problem with this particular. Okay, so this find failed. Okay, I got to know why this is failing. This is because the jar file is an external jar file, right? So let me eliminate. I'm sorry, I was not supposed to close this. The external jar file is what we have used, right? In order to add this, we are using the external jar file. So I'm not going to use your login to Facebook. Okay, but I'll be using the rest of the classes like your compose email, and your logger class is equal to AutoIT dot what it is. It is your logger demo, and I'm going to close it. Oh, sorry, I'm going to close it. So now let me build again. Okay, so if your jar files are not present in that particular build or that particular folder, then it will not be able to process it, right? So let me build it again. So I'll say build now again. So it will start building, and if it successfully executes it, then it is going to change its color. Okay, so again it is building. Let me see what's the problem. So can you see here? It is executing your scripts. Okay, let us see. Once it gets executed successfully, it is going to show you the status whether it was able to build it properly or not. Okay, let it execute. All right, so it has started executing. So it will now attach the file. Okay, done. And now it is executing a second one, so which is your logger. Can you see this? It has now changed its status to success. So this is how your Jenkins would build the framework based on your configuration. Okay, so now you can also configure this for the time as well. So now if you want to configure this project based on the time, if you want to set the time, so you can configure the time as well. So how long, how it should configure, I mean how frequently it should execute. So that is what we are going to say. You can go to your, there is build triggers. Okay, so trigger build periodically, go to this build periodically. So you will be able to schedule this for every 1 hour, for every 2 hours, for every 3 hours. So if you see here, you can provide the time. Okay, so what I would do is I would say minute. Okay, it is going to be minute. So I am going to build it every 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to build it every 5 minutes because it has to take time to execute, right? So and then I'm going to save it here. So wait, oh, I'm sorry. Let me go here. So I'll have to configure, go to build triggers. So here build periodically, I'm going to give the time, okay, to specify the value. Oh, right, I got it. So now I'm going to give it in this pattern. Let me add this. I'll copy this from here and I'm going to add it. Okay, so every 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to add it likewise. Where's that? Build periodically. Okay, you can add it like this. So 15, just not letting me check it also. So perhaps, okay, let me check this. This is going to be all right. So here I would be giving this hours, okay, every 15 minutes. Okay, and let me show you how to, once every 2 hours, 45 minutes passed, okay, every 10 minutes in the first of every hour. So this is what I'm going to pick it up. Okay, so this is what I'll be picking it up, and let me add it here. So let me apply, and yes, it is going to get saved. So this will run at, so you'll have the time as well provided. This will run at Thursday, March 29th. So at 3:55 a.m. IST would next run at this one. So here I have to provide this, this once you configure this, this is going to build at the specified time here. Okay, so whatever time it has been given, right? So that specified time it is going to run. So now it has already started executing it. So once it is started executing, go back here. So if you want to see whether it is executing or not, so here is how you'll be able to see it. So it is now, you don't have to log into your Jenkins also. All you have to do is just keep working, or it is going to build every time you have specified a time frame. Okay, now you can log out or you can close Jenkins and leave it off. Whenever you want to see how your Jenkins is going to execute, it is going to refresh automatically, and then it is going to check whether there is a new changes that is present in a project. If the changes are there, then it is going to incorporate those changes as well. So after which it is going to build it at the specified time. So this is about your third party tool called Jenkins. And the last tool that we are going to discuss for today's class is your Maven. So what do you mean by Maven? Maven is a third-party tool. Okay, it is also called as a build tool. So this build tool will help you to build the dependencies by automatically. That means you don't have to log into, or you don't have to install all the dependencies. Dependencies are nothing but the external jar files, the driver executable files, or whatever files you have downloaded from the internet and you have added to your jars, right? Which means your locators, your project here. So those files can be downloaded from your, Maven, and it will build the file automatically, and you will be able to execute it just by using one XML file called as pom.xml. So Maven is actually a build file which can manage your project's build It will help you in reporting. It will help you in documentation. So where does this Maven download all this? So Maven downloads all piece of information from your centralized repository. We can also call it as Maven repository. So for this, there is a special folder called as .m2 repository, which will get created on your project, which will get created on your system as well. Okay. So how do we configure it? We can configure it just by creating a project. Before that, you will have to install one important tool. Okay, you can install it by going to your install new software. Okay, so here you'll have to choose your Maven M2 releases. So here I am going to search for M2 releases. So this is the one. Let me pick this up. Okay, so start downloading. So here you'll have multiple things. So just select this and click on next. Okay, so once you click on next, it starts executing. So let's see, let's wait until it's downloading everything. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create a special project called as Maven project. So till today we were dealing with your Java projects. Now you're going to see how to create your Maven project in order to work with it. Okay. So let's see. So it is downloading here. If you see the status, it is showing it is downloading. So once after it downloads, we'll be able to create the project. Okay. So let's wait until it gets downloaded completely. Okay. It is still taking time. Can you see here? It says calculating requirements and dependencies. So it is going to bring down all the dependencies that is required for our functioning into your path on your user's login access. Okay. So I'll show you where the .m2 file gets created as well. It is going to take a little time because it has to contact that centralized repository in order to download everything. So we'll wait until this gets downloaded. Okay. So once after this gets installed, what we are going to do is we are going to create a Maven project. Okay. So how do we create a Maven project? We go to File, we go to New, and here if this Maven project is not on top, you're going to use this project, go under this project. You'll be able to see a folder by name Maven, right? So click on that Maven, just expand that Maven, and you'll be able to choose this Maven project. So now what you're going to do, you're going to click on this create simple archetype. Okay. And then you're going to use this default location and just say next. Okay. So under your your group ID, you're going to give the group ID. So what do you mean by group ID is? Group ID is nothing but the URL or the name of the project that you here. The group ID, whatever you specify, is your name of the group or name of the project that you're going to specify. So I'm going to give it as Edureka test. And your artifact ID is nothing but the actual package that needs to get created. So here I say Edureka test. Okay, so that is the same name I have given. Now what I'll be doing, I'm just going to leave the rest of them as it is, and I'm going to click on finish. So okay, the POM doc. Okay, wait, just give me a minute. I'm going to say Edureka demo. Okay, let me change the name of this, because there is already a project created in the name. So I'm just going to click on OK. So as soon as you click on that, so this is what you're going to get. So here you will be able to see, so it takes time to get updated. So here you'll be able to see the project, wherein you will have 4 different source folders. One is your Java folder, one is your resources, that is for your main. Okay, so any main classes that you want to create, you're going to keep it under your main folder, and the resources that you require, you will keep it under your resources folder. And any classes that you want to test will be kept under this test folder and your test resource folder. So apart from that, once after your classes are set up, the classes which needs to be executed will populate automatically under this source folder. Okay, so this source folder is the one where your scripts will get added after you set up your entire Maven project. And one important thing that you'll have to know is about your pom.xml file. So this pom.xml file is the object repository file wherein you're going to specify all your dependencies. So what do you mean by dependencies? Dependencies are nothing but your dependencies for your Chrome driver or your driver executables or your jar files which is required to execute any of your test script like your Selenium standalone server, your testng file. So all these files have to be downloaded and it has to be kept, not downloaded. The path to those files need to be captured and it needs to be kept under this pom.xml file which will execute, and once you run this, once you start installing this, so it will install all the executable files or your jar files on your system and it will run your project. All right, so that is what we are going to see. So we are going to set up your pom.xml file, but before that what we are going to do is we are going to change the GRE system library. So this GRE system library has taken up the very old version. So I'm going to change it. So here right click on your GRE system library and click on this properties file. Okay. So here you'll be able to see something called as workspace default GRE. So choose that and click on close. So then it gets updated to the new version of your system library based on whatever you have installed. So the Java software which has got installed will have your GRE and your JDK, right? So the latest GRE should be taken into consideration. So after this, what we are going to do, we are going to convert this particular project into your testng project as well. So let me convert this. Go to testng, convert to testng. So this is what I'm going to do. So location Edureka demo testng.xml. So here is the suite name and the test name. So I'll keep it as it is. I'll click on finish. Okay, so it has now got added. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a small class, but before that we are going to configure the basic pom.xml. So what are the basic requirement in order to run my Selenium project? I need Selenium standalone jar and I need my testng file also to be added, right? So what do? I'm going to download your Selenium standalone jar. So from where do I download? I download it from seleniumhq.org. But here we are not going to download it manually. Instead, we are going to download from your pom.xml file when we execute it, okay, when we build it. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to download Maven Selenium standalone server. You can take up any dependency, okay, any dependency for that matter. So here I'm going to use your 2.45, okay. So I'm going to pick this up, or yeah, I'm going to pick this up. So 2.45, okay, and you'll be able to see this Maven, right? So here, this is what you're going to capture. So this is called as the dependency tool. So there are multiple tags that you are supposed to know about, okay. So I'll tell you what are the tags. So before that, let me add another tag called dependencies before. So dependencies, okay. So within this dependencies, you'll have to keep your dependency, okay. So now this is the project tag that you'll have to know. What do you mean by project tag? Project tag is nothing but the tag which specifies which project it is, okay. And then you have another tag called model version. So this model version is nothing but the version of your, what to say, Maven that we are using, okay. And the group ID is the one that we have given as the name, okay, and when we were creating the Maven project, and your artifact ID is nothing but the project name that we have given. And then this version is by default taken, the snapshot is by default taken. Now apart from that, you have a dependencies tag. So what does this dependencies tag do? This dependency tag will hold multiple dependency. So this dependency is an individual, so this is for only one, this is a singular. But for your multiple to capture your, so this is like a folder structure. Consider this to be the jars file, okay. In that jars file, Selenium HQ or Selenium standalone server is one of the dependency. testng is one of the dependency. So likewise, your dependency is collection of all the dependency. Okay, so that is how it is. So I can, okay, let me take up the new version itself. So let me go with your 3.8 jar. Okay, so yeah, okay, I should have gone here. I don't want to download it. Instead, I want to take up the path to it. So when you go here, you have something called as group ID and artifact ID under your dependency tag as well. So what do you mean by this group ID? So this group ID is nothing but the reverse URL. Okay, so this reverse URL will be the website of where you can find this particular artifact. So artifact is the actual dependency that I want. For example, say I'm using your Selenium standalone server. So that Selenium standalone server is the artifact. Got it? And the site where I can find this is your group ID, which is your reverse URL. All right. And you can provide any version. If you just say latest here, it is going to download the latest version always. For example, say if it is 3.11 today and 3.12 tomorrow, when I run my program tomorrow, what it is going to do, it is going to take up the latest version and it is going to execute. So for now, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use your 3.8.0. Okay, that is what I'll be using it. So now the next dependency that I want is your testng. Right, so let me take up this testng. You can directly find it here as well. Testng, just search in your Maven repository. So click on this testng. Okay, so here is the latest version. You can pick up the latest version or one version previous to the latest version. Both works fine. So here is what I've taken. Your testng.org.testng is your group ID. Testng is dependency, that is your artifact. And 6.142 is the new version, right? So as soon as you click on this save, you'll be able to see something called as downloading, and it says building workspace, which means it is going to build or download all the dependencies which is required in order to work with your projects. So when you start downloading, there is a new folder called as Maven dependencies which gets added. Can you see here? It has downloaded all the dependencies that is required. Can you see this testng dependency and also the dependency of your Selenium standalone server? So these are the jar files which is present in your Selenium standalone server file. Okay, so that is what has been downloaded as of now. So the next one, you want to use it. For example, say if I want to test using your your HTML unit driver, let me take that program here. Okay, so where's this headless browser? I'm going to use this headless browser. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here under your source folder. I'm going to create a class. Okay, so I'm sorry, I have to create a package first. Oh, the package is already there. Okay, let me create a package. Okay, so here I say you have to go to this browse and you can give the name as what is the name that I'm going to give? The name that I'm going to give is headless browser testing. I'll just name it as headless browser. Okay, so for the same class, I am going to execute it here. Okay, I have created the class here. So I'm going to mark it as a testng class, not as your normal class. So we'll see how to work with this. So here I'm going to use your testng. Instead of your public static void main, I'll just mark it as a test method. Okay, @test. Okay, and then I'm going to create this method. So it's loading, no problem. We'll use this. So @test. Did you see, as soon as we used this, as soon as we configured your pom.xml file, the library has got added to your project. So even without your jar files, you're able to use your annotation, which means you're able to import your annotations. Can you see all this which has got imported successfully? So that is how your Maven works. So now I say public void headless browser testing. So this is what I'm going to name this method as. Okay, and I would save this. And then if you have to execute this, what else do you note? We don't need anything, right? We don't need anything. Why? Because headless, your HTML unit driver is already present in your file, which means your Selenium standalone server file which we have downloaded. So what we can do is we can use your testng.xml file. So under your testng.xml file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name the classes that I'm going to execute. Okay, inside this classes, I'll give the class name. Class name is equal to what it is. It is headless browser dot, where is it? Class name, where's your package? This is the package. So double quotes, package dot, what is the class name? Headless browser testing using your HTML driver. So this is what my class name is, right? So this is what I will add it. Now I would first check whether I'm able to run this program or not. I'll just use your testng.xml in order to run. So let me run as testng suite first. We'll see whether it works fine or not. Okay, now it is configuring, it is testing. Perfect. It is capturing the title, so it has searched and it works fine, right? So now this is the testng way of executing it. If I have to run it as your Maven, what we are going to do is in your pom.xml, you're supposed to add this testng.xml file. So if you have to do that, then you have to go with something called as a compiler plugin. Okay, there are two important plugins that is required. One is your compiler plugin. The second one is your Maven Surefire plugin. Okay, so let me pick that up. So I say Maven Surefire plugin dependency. Okay, so here I want it as a plugin. I don't want it as a dependency. So for that I'll go to this. So we'll search where is that plugin. Okay, and I would add it as a plugin and not as a dependency. I want it to be a plugin. So let me search for that plugin. So here I'm going to use this plugin, Surefire plugins. So this is what I want to add. Okay, let me add it here. I'll have to add it after your dependencies. So I'll add it here, plugins. So it says, just give me a minute. Let me remove this. And then let me remove this as well. Okay, so here what I'll be using is under your plugins, I'm going to use it because what is the error that I have? It is still downloading. Just wait. So once it downloads, we'll be able to see whether it is successful or not. Okay, for now it is just giving an error. It has to get refreshed to tell us whether it is fine or not. Okay, so it is taking a little time. Alright, meanwhile, let us find out for your compiler plugin. By the time it is going to download that, we are going to download your Maven compiler plugin as well. Okay, so let me go to this Maven compiler plugin. So we'll see where that plugin is. Okay, I say configuration. So here I get this Maven compiler plugin. This is another one that we'll have to download. Okay, let me take this plugin. Okay, so I'm going to use that under this plugins folder and I'll add it here. Okay, so here is what I'll do. So it says it building workspace. It has built the workspace. Why is it giving me error in that case? Okay, let me check for your Maven whether it has downloaded your Surefire plugin or not. So, okay. Standalone server, Guava, HTML unit driver, perfect. But let me close this. Let me close this as well. So now let me refresh my project. Okay, let me refresh my project. Now what I'll do is I'm going to use this pom.xml file in order to run this. So there are multiple phases that your Maven would undergo. The phases is Maven build, Maven clean, Maven install, Maven test, Maven compile, and Maven package. So what does this Maven clean does? Maven clean is used to clean the already downloaded dependencies. If you have any dependencies that you have downloaded already, so and you want to just clean everything, then it is going to clean your Maven dependencies. Okay, and then comes your Maven build. What does your Maven build do? Just give me a minute. It says that, okay, here, why is this throwing an error here? So shore file, let me take this Maven shore file plugin as another version. Should I take another version of it? Okay, I'll give this plugins, throwing an error. Okay, let me build this Maven, run as Maven build. So I'll be able to get what is the error, actual error. So okay, here it is asking for me to set the path. Let me not set the path, but instead I'm going to install it now, test it. Oh, I missed it, right? Now it is testing. So it says malformed unrecognized tag plugins. So the plugins tag is not recognized. Start tag seen dependency. Okay, plugins is not getting recognized. So let me check whether I've closed all possible. Okay, dependencies are closed. I have to close this dependencies here itself. So let me add this dependencies here. So have I closed everything? Yes, I've closed everything. So plugins. Okay, let me check what it is giving me. So let me add your build before we give your plugins. Okay, and then let us check if this works. Because if you have to build your plugins, then it has to perfect. So this is the problem. Your plugins should not be given directly. So it has to be given under your build, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this as Maven test. Okay, let me check what it does. So now what it is, I've not opened anything. So it is building your workspace. I've not opened any browser, or I've not opened any program, and I'm building it. I'm just trying to build it using your pom.xml file, wherein it is going to build everything. It is going to download all necessary dependencies like your compiler plugin, your shortfly plugin, and then your browsers and your downloadable Selenium standalone server, and everything. After it sets up, it is going to execute your program. So now it is setting up. Okay, the workspace is built. So now it is going to execute your program. All right, so let's see what it does. So it is building Edureka 0.0.1 snapshot. Now it has started executing. So this is how it is going to work with your Maven. This is how we are going to work with your Maven. All right, so let me refresh. Okay, now what you'll be, as soon as you update, you'll have to update the project as well. So how do you update? Right click here, go to Maven. Okay, go to Maven. Where's Maven? Here. And you are supposed to update your project. So once you update this project, whatever dependencies are need to be settled, so it is going to settle everything. Okay, it is going to settle everything. So here you'll be able to see your program that you have created under this particular source folder, which will be tested. Okay, so now what you can do, you can run your pom.xml and it will execute it the way you want. Okay, this is all about your Maven project. So what we did, we installed your M2E releases, and we started working with your pom.xml file, where we embedded your testng.xml file as well. We started downloading all the required dependencies which is needed in order to execute my programs. I created a small program in order to understand how my Maven would execute it. And then now what we have done is we have updated the project. Once after the project is updated, we can test my program and it should build it successfully. So this is all about your Maven. So once after this gets successfully installed, So can you see this? It is now running your suite, right? So once it gets successfully installed, we will go back to our presentation. We'll understand, we'll see, just cross check whatever we have discussed in our today's class, and we'll see if we have left out anything. So can you see this? Now it is running successfully. So the title of the page has been taken and build says it is success. Got it? So this is about your Maven, right? So let us go back to our presentation. Okay, so here what we are going to discuss, we have discussed all the possible third-party tools that we will use in order to work with your Selenium. So we spoke about what Maven is, we spoke about how to configure your build tool, right? And then we also spoke about what is the use of your pom.xml file, and we saw how to configure your pom.xml file, and what are these project, your model version, your group ID, your artifact ID, and your version also we saw. And then what are to be added inside your pom.xml is what we saw. We added your dependencies, we added your dependency, you can use your URL also, and we also saw what are the additional elements and the Maven phases like your clean, your compile, test, package, and install. So this clean is used to delete all the artifacts, as I told you. Compile is used to compile your source code, and test is to execute the compiled source code, and package will convert your entire package into .jar or .war file. Okay, and when you say install, it is going to install all the packages into your local repository, right? So that is what it does. So to combine your Maven and Selenium, we started configuring it, like we installed new software, that is M2 releases, and then we created a new project, a Maven project, and then we started adding our group ID, artifact ID. This was the structure of our project. And then we converted into, we also set up the system library to the newest one, and then we converted into the testng project, and we started adding the dependencies into our pom.xml file. So here basically we added your Selenium standalone server and also your testng, and then we started creating a class wherein we added a new class and we started executing it. So if you want, you can write any class, because the class was already present, I just copy pasted it. Okay, so then what we did is we updated our project. So once we updated our project, we are going to compile and add this compiler and surefire plugin along with your testng.xml file. So after which we'll run it as Maven install, and it will successfully build my software, build my project, right? So that is how we are going to deal with our Maven. So here is a demo that is given to you. Now you guys can try this. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and create a Maven enable Java project, add the testng classes, configure the pom.xml file, and check the Facebook website for its correct title. Okay, all you have to do is just use this Facebook's get title. Okay, and then you can start executing. So now we discussed about your Jenkins, wherein we downloaded your war file and we also configured your Jenkins based on your new item or your create jobs, and we also saw how to integrate it and how to keep it up, I mean to say how to build it periodically, right? So once after that is done, you can build it every now and then. If you want to check how your Jenkins is still running, I can show you here. If you go to this, go to your Jenkins, which is your HTTP, so which is your localhost 8080. So if you go here, now you will be able to see it. Okay, it is asking me for my admin password. I think it will not identify. Yes, perfect. Can you see this? If you want to see, so it has built it. So we had built only the second one. Now it has built the third and fourth one based on the periodic execution, right? So this is how it is going to work. Okay, so now the next thing what we discussed is about our third party tools like your AutoIT and Sickly along with your Log4J, right? So what did we do with your AutoIT? There is a different script here. Okay, I have used your Gmail's attachment in order to show how to work with it. So we downloaded it and we saw how to work with the different methods. you have script editor, you have Windows info tool, and we also have something called as your compiler, which will compile your AU3 file into your .exe file. All you have to do is, using your runtime class, you're going to convert the script into .exe, and you're going to execute it using that runtime class. So next came up your Sickly, introduction to Sickly. So wherein we used your Sickly API in order to generate a new API called as Sickly X API, which will help you to work with multiple methods of your Sickly. Only few methods that we used is your test, your type, right, and your click. So along with that, you have multiple methods, like the methods you have in your Sickly is to right click, to double click, to find the path, to type, and you can also use your drag and drop. Okay, all information are available, so you have to just use that class name object. Along with that, you can start executing it. So in your log4j, we discussed about how to log whatever activities that we are going to perform in our application. So for that, we downloaded our log4j. So this log4j was added into our build path, which will help us to write into a log file, right? So using that logger class, we are going to use a logger class, and we are going to start login, right? So that is what we have done here. So if you see this, this is what we have set it up. That is your XML file, log4j.xml file, which needs to be added under the source folder itself. So once after it is done, this is how your log file would look, right? So to summarize, we have dealt with your Maven for building and sending reports, and Jenkins for continuous integration, AutoIT to upload a file, Sickly for working with Flash applications, and Log4j for logging. So this is all about today's session. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us an email. So, or you can contact our support team who are always there to help you. And as I always request, please do take up your feedback, your survey feedback. Your suggestions, your likes, your comments are always welcome. Okay, so you can also rate us. Okay, and then if you have any ideas, please come up with ideas so we can inculcate those ideas in our recordings as well, so that which helps others, right? All right, then, thank you so much for getting enrolled with us. Have a nice day. Bye bye.